Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are strapping in and venturing into the absolute upside-down world of finance, short margin account calculations. Now, before we flip gravity totally on its head, I want to quickly mention that this explainer is brought to you by CertFuel. If you're grinding for your Series 7, they have a full course loaded with adaptive study quizzes, smart flashcards, and unlimited practice exams that are weighted exactly like the real thing. It's an absolute game changer, so go check them out at certfuel.com. Okay, let's dive right into this. If you've been studying long margin accounts, you know the drill, right? You're used to buying low and selling high. But today, we are doing the exact opposite.
To really understand the math here, we first have to embrace the pure, unadulterated absurdity of short selling. Seriously, imagine looking out your window, seeing your neighbor's shiny new riding lawnmower, walking over, taking it, and selling it to a guy down the street for $1,000. You do not own the lawnmower, but your master plan is to wait until winter when lawnmowers are on clearance, buy an identical one for $500, give it back to your neighbor, and just pocket the difference. That is short selling. You are literally selling something you do not own, hoping the price absolutely crashes so you can buy back cheaper. It's weird, it's risky, and man, it is heavily tested.
Section 1. Welcome to the Upside Down. The good news here, short accounts follow the exact same structural logic as long accounts. The bad news, it's all in complete reverse.
Here is the core fundamental shift you gotta make in your brain. In a long account, you borrow money from the broker to buy stock. You owe them cash. That's a debit balance. But in a short account, you are borrowing stock, selling it, and generating cash. That cash sits in your account right alongside the mandatory deposit you have to make. So you don't have a debit balance here. You have a massive pile of cash. You have a credit balance.
Section 2. Carla's short sale setup. Let's bring in Carla the customer and Riley the rep to short 100 shares of a terrible, unmeltable ice cream company at $50 a share.
Let's look at the setup. Step 1. Riley sells the 100 shares of ABC at $50. That generates $5,000 in cold, hard cash. Those are the sale proceeds. But the broker isn't just going to let Carla do this without some skin in the game. Under Regulation T, she has to deposit 50% of that initial value. So, step 2, Carla deposits $2,500. Step 3, we smash those two numbers together. The $5,000 from the sale plus the $2,500 Carla deposited equals a total credit balance of $7,500. This pile of cash right here, it is the absolute anchor of her entire account.
And that brings us to a massively important number to just burn into your brain, 150%. Take a second to lock this in. At the inception of a short sale, the Regulation T requirement dictates that your total credit balance will always, and I mean always, equal exactly 150% of the short market value. The 100% from the sale proceeds plus the 50% required deposit. 150%.
All right, flashing lights, sirens blaring on this one. Pay super close attention here. This is a classic exam trap. Once Carla's credit balance is set at $7,500, it is locked in stone. It never changes with market fluctuations. Just like the debit balance in a long account stays exactly the same regardless of what the stock does, Carla's credit balance does not budge. The stock could shoot to $1 million or drop to a penny. Her credit balance is still $7,500. So, if the credit balance never changes, how in the world do we know how much money Carla is actually making or losing? Enter the Holy Grail formula for short accounts. You take the fixed credit balance minus the current short market value, and that equals Carla's equity. Think of it like this. The credit balance is the giant pile of cash she has. The short market value is what it would actually cost her to buy the stock back today to return those borrowed shares. Whatever is left over, that's hers to keep.
Section 3. Riding the roller coaster. Carla is all set up. The market opens, and the unmeltable ice cream stock starts moving.
Okay, I want you to literally pause this explainer right now. Seriously, grab a piece of paper. ABC stock just dropped from $50 a share down to $40 a share. The current short market value is now $4,000. Using the formula we literally just learned, what is Carla's new equity? Calculate it before we move on. So, pause the explainer, do the math. Okay, let's see how you did.
And the answer is, her equity actually increases. Look at the math here. Her credit balance is still locked at $7,500, but now it only costs her $4,000 to buy those shares back. $7,500 minus $4,000 leaves Carla with $3,500 in equity. She started with $2,500, and now she has $3,500. She just made $1,000 entirely because the stock tanked.
I know your brain probably wants to reject this. We are trained from birth that when prices go down, we lose money. But in the short selling upside down, price down equals equity up. The test writers know your brain is going to try to default back to long account logic when you're stressed. Do not let them trick you. If you are short, you cheer for the crash.
But hey, what if Carla's wrong? Say a massive celebrity just endorsed the unmeltable ice cream and suddenly ABC stock unexpectedly spikes from $50 all the way up to $60. Her short market value is now $6,000. Pause the explainer again. Work the math. Her equity is definitely shrinking. So does the firm's boss, Sam the supervisor, immediately pick up the phone and issue a maintenance call to liquidate her account?
The answer is no. Sam, the supervisor, stays right in his office. Let's do the math. $7,500 fixed credit balance minus the new $6,000 short market value leaves Carla with just $1,500 in equity. Now, the Reg T requirement for a $6,000 position is 50% or $3,000. Carla only has $1,500, so her equity has officially eroded below the Reg T minimum. But that does not mean a maintenance call. It just means her account is restricted.
So, the crucial point here is understanding this specific vocabulary trap. Restricted does not mean liquidated. Restricted simply means Carla cannot execute any new short sales or withdraw money without depositing more cash first. It's a penalty box, right? Not a death sentence. Sam the supervisor won't issue a true maintenance call until her equity drops much, much lower.
Section 4. Long versus short face-off. Let's put these two account types right in the ring and let them battle it out side by side so you absolutely don't cross your wires.
Let's break down the exact inversions you need to memorize. Look at the fixed value row. Long accounts lock in the debit balance, which is the money you owe. Short accounts lock in the credit balance, that big pile of cash you hold. Now jump down to the equity formula. Long is long market value minus debit. Short is credit minus short market value. And finally, the profit direction. Long wants the price to rise, short wants the price to absolutely fall. If you can visualize this table, you'll be practically bulletproof on exam day.
But there is one more massive difference we need to cover. 30%. This is the absolute floor. If Carla's equity drops below 30% of the short market value, well, that is when Sam the supervisor finally picks up the phone and issues a formal maintenance call.
Now wait a minute, think about this. In a long account, the maintenance minimum is only 25%. So why is it 30% for a short account? Why does Sam demand a bigger cushion? Here is the why that ties it all completely together. Short selling carries unlimited risk. Think back to the lawnmower. If you buy a stock at $50, the absolute worst that can happen is it goes to zero. You lose $50. But if you short a stock at $50, it could go to $100, $500, or literally $1 million. There is no mathematical ceiling to how much money Carla could lose here. Because the risk is infinite, regulators demand a fatter, 30% safety cushion.
Section 5, Rapid Fire Exam Recap. Shake it out, grab your highlighters, because these are your absolute non-negotiable survival rules.
Rule number 1. Do not bring a long formula to a short fight. If you take market value and subtract the credit balance, you are going to get the exact wrong answer. And I guarantee you that wrong answer will be sitting there as choice B, just smiling at you. Short equity always equals credit balance minus short market value.
Rule number 2. Remember Carla's $7,500. That credit balance is locked in stone at the inception of the trade. It is your fixed anchor point. The only thing moving around in your equation is the fluctuating market value of the stock itself.
Rule number 3. The short maintenance minimum is 30%, not 25%, because when you borrow that neighbor's lawnmower, the risk of having to replace it at a massive markup is theoretically unlimited. Sam the supervisor needs that 30% cushion just to sleep at night.
So here is my final question for you. When test day throws a wildly fluctuating stock right at you and tries to trick you into panicking with all this backwards math, will you remember the rules of the upside down? Will you remember Carla's locked-in credit balance? If you just keep these formulas straight, you are absolutely going to crush this section. Keep drilling those practice questions, stay laser focused, and I will see you in the next explainer.